share screen. So make sure you can see. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Okay, now we live in the age of COVID-19. Okay, of course, every day there are people falling sick from other disease, but of course, this COVID-19 has created a big shock that we've never seen before. And there has been some internet sharing, WhatsApp sharing about something called the Black Cumin Seed. So I have received many questions, many people text me, please explain. So rather than I explain to so many people, I decided to do this talk, which is also helpful for many people who are beginners, don't realize what is black cumin seed. Also, some of you are already experts in taking it. So let me move on. The amount of information I give is quite a lot, so don't be scared. I just refer to it, but you don't have to be a scientist, you don't have to be a doctor to understand it. But I will go fast so that later on, if there's one part that you want to ask some questions, please write it down, put it in your phone, and then you can ask me later. All right? Okay. So what's the situation on COVID-19, since that's the main topic nowadays? Latest statistics as of yesterday is, of course, 3 million over cases. It should be higher because, of course, a lot of cases are not tested. Some of them get well by themselves, so you don't see those. But as far as those that are tested, it's 3 million over and 230,000 deaths. So if you look at that ratio, it's about less than 1%, right? Because, about 5% plus, less than 10%, because 10% is 300 over 1,000. So you're talking about 6-7% rate. In Malaysia, the people in Malaysia are more lucky. Our death rate is only 1.6, 1.7. Now it has affected 215 countries around the world. There is a few countries that totally got zero case, like Fiji Island, that kind of places where they are so isolated, you know. So it's 215 countries and not 500 like some people say. Okay, so what's my mission here? Actually, the health mission that we all share, and many of you share, and I do share, is to educate on the importance of early disease detection and also providing people with a series of preventive, diagnostic, wellness services so that they know what to do. And of course, I have to disclaim and qualify here that this presentation cannot replace your doctor. If you have a doctor, you better, and you don't feel well, you should check with them. Or if you're on medication, always seek qualified medical advice, or you can schedule an appointment with my clinic if you choose to. A little bit about myself. I'm a consultant to a few clinics, and right now I'm also the health advisor to a seed company called AXXA Global. And like Tracy mentioned, I have studied seeds for the past 10 years, and part of it has resulted in some papers. So the most recent was a clinical study done on the benefits of the seeds, and that was published in Europe. And here I am on the left at a conference launching the paper on the clinical study. And at the bottom right here, am I talking to Dr. Professor Charles Mascropat, who is an expert on epigenetics. He's a professor from America. This was the paper that I mentioned about, whereby we published a clinical study on the positive effects of a blend of seeds. And she is also a professor doctor in Romania. So why is everybody talking about black cumin seed and whether it can fight against COVID-19? How did this whole thing started? Well, it started because, you see, you can say it's a bit good news that China, when they first got it, was able to isolate the genetic structure of the coronavirus very fast. Because in the past, when you don't have the tools to do the genome study, you don't know how the virus look like genetically. So once you have the genetic, then everybody's rushed to look for the drug, to look for the vaccine. So within quite fast weeks, China was able to isolate the genetic code of the coronavirus, which causes COVID-19. COVID-19 is the disease. Coronavirus is the virus. Okay, it's novel because it's first time. It's 2019 because it's from 2019. Okay, now you know that it's surrounded by some kind of protein lipid, and they call it the emproprotein structure. So that created the opportunity to go and study what can work. So there's a lot of studies going on. So the excitement about black cumin seeds started because somebody published a study. Identification of compounds from Nigella sativa. Okay, Nigella sativa is the Latin name for the black cumin seed. Okay, it is the agriculture name. So they found that it's a potential new inhibitor for the coronavirus, and it was launched in April, early April. So what is the result of this study? They used something called molecular docking to show that some of the things inside the seed was as good or better than some of the drugs that they are testing. Okay, molecular docking is the first stage for any drug testing. It's used before you launch a drug, it's very expensive. So what they need to do is look at the molecular structure in terms of working against the virus. So the drugs that these people tested against was chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, which is pushed by Donald Trump. Then we got favipiravir, which is a flu drug from Japan. Then you got azithromycin, which is an antibiotic. Then you got Arbidol, which is an antivirus, also a flu medicine. Then you got remdesivir, which is used by Ebola. Actually, Ebola caused a lot of death. So we just got some news 2 days ago from America that remdesivir can shorten the recovery from 15 days to 11 days. Remember, they're not talking about cure. They said can shorten the recovery time. Okay, so what happened is these scientists, they took the black cumin seed and they compare it with all these drugs. I won't go into the details because there are tables and charts and all that. Then they found that it worked as good and better than some of the drugs in terms of the molecular docking. So now, of course, the next stage would be, you have to put it in the human to test it. But nobody is going to test the black cumin seed because there's no money to be made. It's a seed that you can buy, so nobody can patent it. Now, talking about this, Nestle, you know Nestle, the company that make Nescafe, the company that make Milo, they actually tried to patent one of the compounds of the black cumin seed, which is called thermoquinone, but they were unsuccessful. Okay, so just to show you how powerful the black cumin seed is. Okay, so when did we first hear about all this black cumin seed stuff? Well, before all this time, it is already mentioned, and the Muslims of the world, they understand, they know this seed, which is called habatu sauda in Arabic. It is a remedy for all diseases except death. It's well known that these are the words of the Prophet. And then there is also biblical references to the Old Testament. If you check Isaiah 28, 25, 27, you will see that. And then in ancient times, it was found in the Egyptian tomb, especially King Tut, which was a very important discovery. They found black cumin seed there. And the oil was used by Cleopatra for the beauty and for the nice skin. So we know from history that the black seed was used in many occasions. I mentioned the botanical name is Nigella sativa. In Arabic, it's Habatu Sauda or Haba al-Barakah. In Turkey, they call it black caraway. It's used in a lot of the cooking. And in India and Pakistan, it's known as kalonji. Okay, and the seeds is also used for some religious activities. It started in the dry climate of the Mediterranean, North Africa, Middle East Asia, and now, of course, the weather is very good to be cultivated in the Middle East and the Mediterranean area. When was it used? Well, we know it was used in Egypt, right? It was consumed for medicine in terms of gastro problems, respiratory problems, headaches, and also the oil can be used for rashes, skin, nourishing, any sores. And of course, as I mentioned, it is also used for cooking and for spices in baking, making breads and things like that. This was the ancient uses. Now, what is the modern research? Well, the first modern research was in 1959 by Egyptians, because obviously they find all these black cumin seed in history, and they were able to isolate a very powerful chemical called nigellon. And nigellon exists, but since then there has been 1,368 publications, and it's growing. Even the last month, there were a few more studies on black cumin seed. Even now, there are 100 over components, because when nature makes something, it is complex. It contains many things. Like we know oranges contain vitamin C, but nature make it such that it's got enzymes, it's got fibers, it's got cofactors, it's got calcium. So this seed has 100 over different powerful components, not just nigellon. That was the first substance that was identified. Now you have tamoxifen, plant steroids, fatty acids, oils, prostaglandin, and more. Okay, and because of all the studies done by these 1,000 over publications, you see improvement in immunity, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, which is important for COVID, antimicrobial. All these things resulted in 8 patents. Currently, there are 8 patents related to the black cumin seed. So what are the patents? Okay, there's a mistake at the top. It's not 6 patents for black cumin seed, it's 8. And the latest patent actually is February 2020. Some people studied it, some scientists, and found that it was good for anxiety, stress, sleep disorders, and also improve your memory. Okay? So these are the 8 patents. You can see it's for asthma, allergy, immune function, which is important at this time, diabetes. Very important too, because a lot of the death from COVID-19 is from diabetic people. You have inhibition of cancer cells, viral infections, psoriasis, and then some super blend of the seed, which created another patent. So there are 8 patents. So what are the benefits when you take the black cumin seed? Well, it has, as I mentioned, it has anti-inflammatory, it's a powerful antioxidant, and it also relieves your oxidative stress. And it regulates gene expression as well. And that is important when it comes to things like cancer. Okay. There are many 1,000 over studies, so I cannot quote everyone, but this is a key one, just done in 2017 in a journal for pharmacopuncture. They took the Nigella sativa and then they studied the active ingredient called thermoquinone. And then the result shows that there were a lot of patients improving with inflammatory and autoimmune disorders and other forms of what we call metabolic syndrome, right? Metabolic syndrome means high blood pressure, diabetic, high cholesterol, things like that. It also has antimicrobial and anti-epileptic properties. So it's good for people with epilepsy. So there was a patent. Just now you saw the 8 patents. One of them relates to immune function. And what happened? Actually, this research lab was more focused on cancer research. While they were doing the cancer research, they found that the bone marrow cells was increasing at a fantastic rate. Okay, it stimulated the immune cells and increased the interferon production, which protects your cells from the effect of viruses. Okay, so if you Google interferon and COVID now, you will see all kinds of drugs being researched to use it to fight COVID-19. Okay, so there are many antiviral drugs being tested. But here, it was already known that the black seed has it. Another study on immunity shows that there was a 72% increase in your immune cells, okay, your T cells and your NK cells. Another case for immunity, 2015, there was a study done, and it shows that the tomokinon was able to have immunomodulatory and anti-inflammatory action. All right, I'm just showing you a few. Okay. Now, a little bit about cytokine cascade. Most people who die from COVID-19 dies as a result of the body trying to defend itself against the virus. Because once the virus enters you, it will trigger an immune response. But as the virus keep multiplying, your immune response keep boosting up to the extent that it is out of control. You know, it's like your alarm going off in your house. You cut the wire, you throw the battery, and the alarm is still sounding. Like some of our cars are like that, you see? So then your immune system starts attacking and you get organ failures. Your kidney will fail, your liver failure, lung failure, heart failure. So that is what we mean by cytokine cascade. It's a unstoppable inflammation, right? So what we find here is the black cumin seed has antioxidants. It was able to stop the cytokine response. The antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties is well known. So these are some of the papers. In fact, as recent as 2019, there was a study done in Basel, and then 2016 in a journal for Phytomed. Okay, so all the types of inflammatory response that you get. If it's not COVID, it could be rheumatoid arthritis, it could be just inflammation of the liver, so things like that. So any inflammatory disease was found to be good when you take the black cumin seed oil. There's a lot of study done on tomokinon. I mentioned to you that Nestle try to patent it so that they can add it to some of their, I don't know, coffee or maybe tea or cereal. But anyway, they failed. They were not able to patent it because it's a natural substance. We found that, for example, cancer cases, it has a gene expression. It was able to suppress, to switch on your P53 gene that has been suppressed. And that study was done in the cancer lab in the Thomas Jefferson University. And then when you combine it with certain drugs, it has an even bigger therapeutic effect. All right. And this is related to cancer, just to show you. These are some of the cancer things which I won't share too much here. So who are the people who spend time to go and research all these seeds? Well, these are the three principal people who did a lot of research. Mark Muller, who I work with since 10 years ago, he is known as the father of seed nutrition. He was one of the early nutritionists to use seeds for therapy. And then Dr. Leonard and Professor Saltzman from the University of Minnesota. Daniel Saltzman is a professor of surgery. They are pediatric surgeons. They studied the effect of seeds for many, many years at the university. And as a result of that, they came up with some studies, okay? So they found out that there was synergy. That means all the seeds, when you combine certain seeds, it works together very well. And this was first established at the University of Minnesota. And this is a chart that shows it. Bit difficult for you to see, but what it shows here is there are like about 10 seeds on the left. Sesame seed, canola seed, sunflower seed, soybean seed. So you'll find that the antioxidant power was much less compared to the black cumin seed, as well as the black raspberry seed. And when they combine the seeds, they found that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 4 or 5. So there was something called a synergistic effect, right? So in the world of nutrition and food, there are many types of food that goes together well. For example, if you want to get enough iron from meat, you should take it with vitamin C. So drinking an orange juice while you eat your steak is a good way of assimilating your iron. So there's a lot of food synergy in nature. And because of that study, it created a patent. And this patent, as you can see the names down there, Dr. Leonard, Dr. Salzman, and Mark Muller, this patent was to patent a composition of a combination of seed oil, right? And it resulted in this product. Because of all that research, they came out with this product that has 4 seeds. They found that this was the best synergy. You have the black cumin seed, raspberry seed, grape seed, and the cranberry seed, okay? And they added resveratrol and D-Ribose to create this cold pressed seed product. We all know that we need antioxidant to protect ourselves from oxidation, right? One of the reasons why we fall sick, one of the reasons why we age, especially internally in our heart, in our liver, is because we are always being oxidized. Our body is in a way like rusting away, right? The more you exercise, actually, you need more protection, right? And the more you breathe in polluted air or absorb a lot of chemicals from your food or from your cosmetics, you need more antioxidant. But what is key is you need it to be broad spectrum, meaning it has to provide you with the total protection. We know now today that there are 6 types of oxidation, oxidative stress: peroxy, hydroxyl, superoxide, hypochlorite, singlet oxygen, things like that. There are 6 listed here. So when you hit those 6, then you get certified for ORAC 6.0. So it's important. If you take just pure vitamin C or that, you may not have the broad spectrum protection that is needed, okay? So what makes COVID-19 difficult to treat? Why is it everybody is doing the research? Well, because first of all, there's a viral load factor, meaning if you are exposed more, if you go to a 2-3 day meeting, then of course the virus is going to enter you more. But if you just walk by somebody, it's going to be a very light viral load, okay? So viral load makes a lot of difference, which is why the whole world is telling you not to congregate in big groups, okay? Then you have the issue of micro droplets, meaning we are told to stay 1.5 meters. But if the wind is blowing or if you're running and someone is behind you, they can catch the micro droplets even up to 4 meters now, we know that. But it will be a light viral load, okay? But you can still catch it. Slipstream just means the direction of the airflow. Then you have a case of virus lifespan, you know. Some people say 2 days, some people say 2 weeks. Well, it depends on weather condition, it depends on where it is, and so many other factors. The other danger is asymptomatic. Asymptomatic means these are the people who have the virus, but they got no symptoms, no fever, no cough. They walk around like normal people and they can spread. Of course, you have pre-symptomatic, meaning they will get the symptom, but not yet. You know, for example, if you're infected the first 2 days, you may not have any symptoms, you know, until a few days later. Right now, if you go to a hospital, of course, they do the PCR test, which takes a few hours or even 1 day to get the result. Rapid test, PCR means they actually look for the virus. But in terms of rapid test, where they actually test your own blood to see whether your body has produced the antibodies against the virus. But unfortunately, that one you must test after 2 days, because if you first get infected, your antigen or your antibodies may not have started yet. We have imported cases, and that's one of the concern for what we call second wave or third wave. Like in Wuhan, everybody in Wuhan is okay, but they do have imported cases of people coming back in from somewhere else. The other thing that's very dangerous and very challenging is the virus mutation itself. Right now, there's studies showing that there are more than 30 mutations already, but the main 3 is infecting everybody around the world. So the virus is intelligent. It has the ability to adapt. So whatever vaccine or drug that you use may work for a while, but it may not work after that. So these are all the challenges, right? So because of that, you also have infection after so-called recovery. you have a reinfection. And the last thing that, of course, makes it the hardest is to change the habits of people. If you go to a Western country where there's so much focus on human rights and freedom and all that, it's very difficult. Some places like China, Taiwan, they have better control because the people are very disciplined and they will follow. But in many Western countries, they don't follow. So because of that, you will find that their rate of infection and their fatality rate will be higher. So what are the current treatment? Well, first of all, there's no proven medical cure, only supportive. If you go to a hospital, they can only support you. There are potential treatments coming up, but they are undergoing fast track, meaning shortcut. So you have to ask yourself this question. If things are made from shortcut, whatever it is, do you want to take it? Or do you want to rely on it? Because we don't know, right? So the quickest way will be to repurpose current drugs, which is why they're looking at existing drugs that are used for virus and even HIV, arthritis and things like that, and use it. Even gastro medication now is being looked at. Then you have antibodies, because once you recover, your body will produce certain antibodies. So that may have the effect of helping prevent someone from catching the virus. If you talk about new drugs and new vaccine, you're talking about 12 months and above. But let me warn you, usually it takes years to bring a new drug to the market or a new vaccine. It usually takes 5 to 10 years. And now we are going on fast track. So everything will be ready in a year or so. So, of course, all side effects will not be fully tested. And you just have to hope for the best if you go for the drugs and you go for the vaccine. In China and parts of Asia, like Taiwan, all that, they know the power of some of the drugs, but they do combine it with natural, traditional herbal medicine, natural, we call it adjuvants that work together with the drugs. So less in Western countries, but in India, in China, where there's thousands of years of history in natural plant-based medicine, so they can combine it to get better result, to get less side effect. So what's the key point? The key point here is you want anti-inflammatory. I already mentioned, you do not want the cytokine cascade, because the cytokine cascade will kill you, right? You also do not want your immune system to be turned on so crazily that it doesn't know how to stop. You want modulation. So you can do preventive. What is preventive? Well, what the government is telling you. You can have physical precaution, hygiene, wash your hand, wash this, wash that, prevent touching and all that, okay? Those are just to prevent the virus from hitting you. Then the best prevention, of course, is your self-immunity and how you can do it. Then, of course, everybody in the world is waiting for the vaccine. And as I mentioned, there are dangers there too. In terms of treatment, instead of prevention, let's say you already have it, well, there are some unproven drugs that are used for other things, like chloroquine, which is for malaria, but they want to try it. Then they'll give you immunosuppressant to actually suppress your own immune system to prevent the cytokine cascade, also called cytokine storm, because that's the one that actually attacks all your organs. And when you're in ICU and you're really bad shape, all they can do is give you oxygen, look out for, give you a ventilator to help you assist in the breathing. But usually, if you're old and you have other diseases, your chances of survival now becomes less. Now, there are other treatment in certain clinics, even here in Malaysia, where we use ozone, for example. You will find that in Italy, they're allowing it, ozone treatment. Some of the clinics here are doing it. You also have photomodulation, where they take your blood and use cold laser to kill microbes and viruses in your own blood. So there are treatments, but these are not mainstream. They are not conventional. So you won't hear it mentioned so much in the medical world. So how do I boost my immune? Well, it starts with the diet, right? Usually we eat for enjoyment, but I think at this time of COVID, you should really eat for nutrition, right? You can still have your enjoyment, 20%, but try to eat every day some kind of nutrition food. We are talking about vitamin C, foods that have vitamin D3, foods that have zinc, foods that have magnesium, foods that have selenium. All these are available in fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds. Okay? So you need to make sure that you get a balance of those. Hydration is always important. You know, you need enough hydration. You are at home, you may realize that you're not drinking enough water because you're not running around. But you should remember to drink 2 to 3 liters. Some people say 8 glasses, 10 glasses. I make sure I drink at least 3 liters. And I use high quality water, whether it's alkaline, whether it's hydrogen, all have benefits. The only thing I avoid is RO water, distilled water, and tap water, because I know those are harmful, all right? Sleep, rest, most important. But many of you sleep with the handphone on, with the Wi-Fi on. You need to eliminate electromagnetic interference to get good sleep and to also modulate your immune system. Because if the electromagnetic wave keeps firing, it harms your cells, okay? You need to avoid stress. We know that stress leads to many diseases. Every day, we are lucky. We live in Asia where we can get sunlight, and we should get at least 30 minutes, depending on the time of the day and how hot it is. But don't burn yourself, okay? Just some sunlight, take off your shirt, exercise. You don't have to do 1-2 hours exercise. The right exercise is more important than the length, and regularity is more important, right? Do 4-5 times a week. Short is okay. Breathing is very important because, as you know, this COVID virus attacks you through your nasopharynx pathways, your respiratory pathways. It enters through your mouth, nose, ears, multiplies in your throat, goes down to your lungs, and that's when it gets very difficult to control. So we need to be careful. So the moment you have any little bit of irritation in your throat, dry throat, slight cough, you have to do something already. And one of the things that I do is I gargle every day. I gargle morning, I gargle night, I gargle midday. I use good quality sea salt, and I add a few drops of oil, essential oil called Thieves oil. Thieves oil is just a blend of herbal oil with things like cinnamon, clove, cardamom, whatever is inside there. So I find that this is very good because the virus needs to go through your throat, and that's the time and that's the place where you need to beat it. I mentioned broad spectrum antioxidants, very important. Today's top, black cumin seed oil, please use it. It's very important. There is a link also with your gastro system in terms of the COVID-19. So we need to make sure that we have enough good bacteria through probiotics. And very important also is the prebiotics, which is the food that feeds the probiotics. And every day, try to eat some medicinal mushrooms. You can take echinacea if you're not feeling well. These are antibiotic, plant-based. We have Chinese medicine, herbs, teas, Ayurvedic herbs and teas, cinnamon tea, turmeric teas. These are all good for you. Now, as I mentioned one thing, there's no one bullet. If you talk about immunity, it's a whole list of things that you have to do. I cannot say that if you just take one black cumin seed, everything will be fine. That's not the case because our body needs multiple things. You drive a car, you need to check the tires, you need to check the water, you need to check the petrol, you need to check the gear oil. You cannot say that I put petrol, everything runs well. No such thing, okay? So let's value our health before the sickness comes. So as I say, the only defense that you really have is your self-immunity. Very important, okay? So thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'll take them. Otherwise, here's my email, here's my WhatsApp. You can take a snapshot and contact me if you have something private. I know usually when I finish my talk, some people with other kinds of disease will contact me, but that's okay. I'm here to share as we go back to our mission is to be able to educate people to take care of themselves. So be safe, find ways to take care of your immunity so that even if you're so bad luck and you catch the virus, it will be no problem. You will be fine in a few days because you have a balanced immune system. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, and be safe.
Thank you, Dr. Jerry. So anyone have any questions here? You can just unmute your mic and just ask your questions over here. Is there anything that you are not understand?
I have a question here. Sorry, I just see in the chat. So let me answer from Su-In. How much black cumin oil should I take? I think that's the question. Let me check. Because it appeared and then it disappeared. Okay. All right. In terms of normal protection, and it depends on also the source. If you get a black cumin oil that is not properly cold pressed or not properly stored, you have to understand oils are very volatile. They must stay fresh. If you press the oil and then you keep it in a bottle, every time you open and close, the efficacy drops a lot. Okay, so if after 2 weeks, maybe it's zero value already. So two aspects. One is not just the amount you take. Number two is, of course, the quality also. But of course, now there are many people who put it in capsule. And after doing research for 10 years, I find that the best product that contains black cumin seed is the product that came out of the patent with Dr. Mark Muller and the other doctors at Mark Muller. Okay, so we find that through our research, that has the best brand of black cumin oil. And I take 2 packets a day. I'm not sick, so I just take 1 in the morning and 1 at night for protection. And I take it slowly, enjoy it. Okay? If you get other sources of black cumin seed, I can't answer unless you show me where it comes from. Okay? Next question.
Another question from Su-In Lim. The best time to take from the brand that you recommend?
Usually you should take it on an empty stomach. And the best time would be in the morning when you wake up, and in the evening just before you sleep, because that's the time you're getting all your rest and your liver is resting. 11 to 3 at night, it's the time that your liver is rejuvenating. So that's the best time to take it, right? And in the morning, before breakfast, it's also a good time to take it.
So, okay. I have another question here. It's regarding the freshness. As we know, we can get black cumin seed and the seed oil in the market. So what's the difference in terms of the freshness and cold press system?
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, seed oils that come from seed are very volatile, which means especially something called the polyunsaturated. We're talking about omega-3, omega-6. The saturated oil, which is like beef oil, pork oil, coconut oil, we realize that it's quite stable. It's quite stable. It doesn't go bad. But if you take omega-3, omega-6, it goes bad. It goes rancid really fast because of oxidation again. So therefore, those days, when our mother cook curry, we buy all the seeds, cumin seed and this seed and that seed, and we crush it and we put it in the curry. So we're getting a lot of good nutrition. But today we go to Tesco and buy the powder, which has no value anymore, only taste. So we lose our nutrition. So it is important that it has to be fresh. And the reason why I take this AXXA SO Plus product is because they have a patented packaging technology that keeps it vacuum sealed fresh for 2 years. And that's why it's easier for me to open the packet and just drink it. If I buy a bottle of oil, I need to pour it into small bottles, and I need to finish it within a few days. So it's very complicated. And then you don't know the oil came from Egypt, Turkey, Iran, already in the boat for many weeks. And that's the problem, okay? I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jerry. So anyone have questions here?
Hey, Jerry, Kevin here. I want to ask, this US president keep on saying like heat, the ultraviolet can kill the virus. So why don't we go to the sauna, the hot heat sauna? Those people got this virus, go to the hot sauna, then can kill the virus.
Okay, good question. I think, you see, the President Donald Trump is a businessman. So he actually very fed up with all this panic and all that, To him, few thousand people die is, they got 200, 300 million people. Every day, so many people die from other things, drug overdose lah, flu lah, car accident. So to him, he's damn frustrated. He just wants the stock market to go up and he wants business to be booming and people to have jobs. So to come back to your question, the virus is a living organism. It's an RNA, attaches itself and then grows and multiplies. Of course, they are killed by extreme heat, all right? Any virus, you put in boiling water, of course, it's gonna die. So the weather does have a role. If the virus is exposed to a hot surface, it's not gonna last long, maybe a few minutes. But in a cold place, like in the winter, or in an air-conditioned room where it's circulating and all that, so it can survive sometimes even up to days. And that's the danger. Now, you mentioned sauna. If you go into a sauna, obviously the sauna is hot, so unlikely there will be virus inside the sauna. But when you breathe in the heat, your body regulates. That's why our body temperature stays around, 36.5, 37.5. That is our own body regulation through our water blood system. So however you drink also, you drink boiling water also, it will change to a lower temperature. So you cannot kill the virus by drinking or breathing in the hot water. But what you can do is, of course, if you use steam, put some essential oil, you can breathe in so that you can have some kind of antiseptic effect on your throat, on your nose, in case the virus comes by, okay? That is why we get fever, because fever is your first line of defense. Most of us, when we get a virus attack, we will get a fever. So a fever is your own body's way to fight the virus. So it's good to maintain the fever for a while. In fact, many doctors practice controlled fever. You don't want it to be too high, and the controlling limit will be like 40. You want to keep it below 40 before you take any medication. You will use cold towels, ice pack, whatever to cool your head down and cool your body down. But you want the fever to sustain the fever as much as possible because that weakens the virus. That's your own body defense. So when we have children nowadays, little bit fever, we reach for the paracetamol, we reach for the medicine. Actually, it's not good, right? But we should measure all the time to make sure that it doesn't go out of hand. Once it reaches 39 and a half, we got to be very careful, right? And we may need some medication for that period, especially at night, so that they can sleep. But during the day, try to maintain the fever as much as you can, because that boosts and stabilizes your immune response. Okay? Answer your question?
I got a question.
Sure.
If let's say every day I go and drink salt with water, gargle it. So if let's say I catch the virus, would the virus being killed off?
Okay. All the things that I mentioned earlier are what we call preventive, and self-immunity is to maintain. Yeah. So let's say the virus hits your throat. Yes, if you gargle with salt water and tea soil and all that, it will kill a lot of the virus, but it may not kill all, depending on your other immune response. It may migrate, to your lungs and all that, but at least you are fighting it at the first round. So if you do feel a sore throat or dry throat or a little bit of cough, you not only gargle, you must do more than that. You have to take all the things I mentioned earlier. You have to double or triple the vitamin C, the vitamin D, the zinc, the selenium, the So Plus, the black cumin seed. You need to take 4 packets a day, 5 packets a day. So you increase it when you know you are getting infected. But as a preventive measure, in case you get a very light viral load, I mentioned viral load, right? If you sit in a room with someone with COVID-19, obviously 1-2 hours, you're going to get more virus. If you just go for 1 minute, then you get off, you may get a little bit. So the gargling, all those things will help, because it is a respiratory disease. So it's very helpful. And also, just to continue, even before COVID-19, you should do it as a regular practice, because a lot of other infection and all those things starts from the throat. So you should maintain good health by gargling.
Where can I buy
Where can you buy what?
the black cumin seed?
I think we have some people here. You can email me, WhatsApp me, but whoever invited you here, maybe they have, because some of the people here are already taking it, so they do have stock. You can buy, I think the office here, of course, is in Kuala Lumpur. I think they have stock wherever you are. And I was just going to say that there's another technique I want to mention here quickly. You can Google for the health of your mouth. Is something called oil pulling. You put 1 teaspoon of coconut oil and you roll it in your mouth for about 15 minutes and then you spit it out. That has antibacterial and antiviral effect as well. It's called oil pulling. I do that once a week. Any other questions?
Is there any more questions?
I think the chat room got one question.
Yeah.
Can you read to me? Let me see how I open the chat room.
Is there any side effect on anyone who take black cumin seed?
Good question. Wow, I see 9 chats. The share how much? Is there any side? Okay. Again, first part of the question, first part of my answer is depend on the quality of your black cumin seed. This brand that I work with, of course, is organic. The black cumin seed organic. But this black cumin seed is grown everywhere, from Bangladesh to India to Pakistan to Turkey to Egypt to Saudi Arabia. Okay, because those kind of climates are very good. So we do not know how it's processed. So if you take it that has pesticides and things like that, so I'm not sure unless it's rated organic. I know that Egypt and Turkey are the only 2 countries, and I think Sri Lanka is able to get the organic rating. All right. So first point is you got to be careful of that because you may have some other side effect from the chemicals. Number 2, like all things, you shouldn't overdose on it. You shouldn't overdose on it. You should take the right amount, because if you take too much, it may give you diarrhea, which is okay. Just like vitamin C, if you over consume vitamin C, you will get diarrhea also. If you stop, it should be okay. The only qualification I have is people who are diabetic. It's good to take black cumin seed, but you have to be careful, because when you first take it, your sugar may drop too fast and too low. So you need to moderate. You need to take a little bit and then slowly increase. Okay. And people with pregnancy, I would suggest that you take less and take more only in your 3rd trimester. All right. Because there's a small little fetus growing baby in your body. You don't want to overload with too much nutrition. So just take a little bit if you are pregnant. And if you have low blood pressure, just like sugar, it may drop, because this is very good for high blood pressure. So it may drop the pressure, so you may get dizzy. So you want to take a little and then slowly increase it. Okay? Like, for example, I have a friend, he can't even take bitter gourd, you know, kokwa, fukwa, because the pressure dropped and he feel dizzy. So you see, so even normal food also has this type of effect, because it's a natural thing. Okay? Any other question? I missed the brand. There's a question here. The brand is called AXXA SO Plus. So means seed oil. So it's seed oil plus because it's got seed oil plus other things. Someone asked a question here about cancer. It's too long for me to explain here. I can give a separate talk on cancer. It's not today's topic today. But if you have cancer, obviously, if you get COVID, it's very, very, very dangerous. If you are diabetic, if you have high blood pressure, if you got asthma, if you got cancer, or you have any lung or heart disease, this is a very dangerous time, especially if you're old. Do not come out, stay at home, don't see anybody, be safe and be clean all by yourself, because a little bit of viral load is enough to kill you because you have some health issues. But if you're generally healthy, you can take some viral load. I can tell you out of the 3 million over people infected, probably 30 million people already infected. But they recovered 1, 2 days, 3 days later, no big deal. Right or not? So the issue is this, okay? It's the weak people. Like in Sweden, they practice herd immunity. That means they don't bother with all this. They just tell the people, be careful and all that. There's no compulsory lockdown. There's no nothing. They just tell the old people, stay at home. But they do have some death, and 50% is old people. So if you have father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, don't see them. And make sure they understand this is deadly as far as they are concerned. As far as we, 95% of us will not be in it. Even if we get it, we will recover. And if you follow what I just advised in terms of the total immunity optimization, in the first place, try not to get it. But even if you get it, you'll recover very fast because you're well protected. Okay? Any other questions?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Is there any food combination with black cumin seed to enhance its effectiveness? And if there is, it would be interesting to know. And similarly, is there any food combination to avoid when taking black cumin seed?
Okay, very good question. Traditionally, in the ancient time, before they do all this modern research, the people take the black cumin seed together with honey. Because honey also has antiviral properties. You're aware of that, right? So if you follow the Muslim practice with the black cumin seed, or batu sauda, as they call it, they typically take it with some honey. The second reason why they take it with honey is also because it's very bitter. Very, very bitter when you bite on it. So the honey makes it more pleasant, okay? In fact, the Muslim practice is to take it with honey. Now, why I spend so much time to look at this is because I know that the scientists in America who studied this, they already answer your question. They found that the black cumin seed works best with black raspberry seed. So they patented it, copyright, okay? And then they found that other seeds like the grape seed and the cranberry seed added more powerful nutrients to the combination. So when those seeds are taken together, you have something called a synergy effect. What is synergy effect? Okay, if you drink 3 glasses of whiskey, yeah, maybe depending on your limit, you may feel a little bit drunk. But if you take 1 whiskey and 1 brandy and 1 tequila and 1 vodka, you get drunk very fast because the combination of the different alcohol from the different types of raw material creates a synergy effect, make it more powerful. So that is the effect you see of alcohol. So it's the same thing for all these seeds. Why they can boost so high in terms of the antioxidant naturally is because of the combination. And because sometimes you want this seed to work, you should try to take it with as little food as possible because you get a dilutive effect. It's like alcohol, right? If you eat food and then you drink, you won't get drunk so fast. So if you're going to enjoy your black cumin seed and take it to get its full therapeutic effect, then you want to take it before food. 5 minutes later, you can eat your food, but don't take it with a lot of food where you will dilute the effect. Okay? In terms of contraindication, I would be careful if you're on medication. For example, if you're on blood thinner, warfarin and things like that, where thin your blood, then you got to be careful when you take it because you need to balance. So you can check with your doctor, you can check with me. But you need to balance it so that your blood doesn't become too thin because you already have medication. The black cumin seed also has the ability to do that. And the grape seed also in the So Plus. So these are the contraindications that you have to be careful. More on medication. As far as eating together with other food, no problem.
Dr. Jerry, there's another question here from Nicholas Koo.
Mm-hmm.
Any info that those with positive COVID after recovery will reoccur?
Yes, as I told you, there are now different mutations of the virus. I ask you a question. The coronavirus is the same as your cold, common cold, tiok kam. You know, Hokkien we say tio kam. If you catch cold today, can you catch cold again next month? You can, right? It's still coronavirus. So to answer your question, you can. So the only final protection is what? Again, your self-immunity. You take care of your immunity, everything is settled. You don't care which mutation or which virus comes. Same thing, right? If your immune is good, you might not catch cold, whether it's today, next month, or next year. Now, the danger part is some people think they have an acquired immunity. WHO already announced that it's not proven. Yes or no? Actually, they don't know. Why they don't know? I tell you why. Because, for example, let's say I get the COVID-19, I recover. But because my immune system was good in the first place, because I take black cumin seed, I take all these fruits, vitamin, all vegetables, I'm strong. So even I get it, I recovered, then I may not get it again for a long time because I already helped my immune system already. You see, that's why they cannot answer. It's not just the antibody. The antibody can be overcome by a mutation. You understand that, right? But your overall immune system is your best defense because it can react to anything. So it is still a danger if you have recovered and you can create reinfection. And that's why we are all worried about second wave and third wave. This thing is not going to die off. It will slow down, and it will pick sometime again. And that is where we have to be careful. So always start by, the good news is we all now know that we have to stay clean, wash our hands, wear masks. Just like in Taiwan and all Korea, people go around wearing masks anyway. So we should practice that now. That's why the Western countries find it very difficult. Okay, good question, Nicholas.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Jerry. I want to ask, you mentioned about vitamin C, zinc, magnesium, the essentials, a few multivitamins. What have you yourself been taking to ensure that you get sufficient zinc, magnesium, and vitamin C?
Number one, vitamin C, I take a hell of fruits. Before this talk, I just ate, I ate 6 big grapes, 1 whole mango, and yesterday some papaya, watermelon. So because it's water soluble, vitamin C, it flushes out. That's why if you take a pill, your urine turn yellow. It is never good to take a single vitamin. Don't make that mistake. Never go and buy just pure vitamin C and take it, because vitamins work in a group, you know. So if you can, of course, I promote good food, right? Vitamin C. D, of course, sunlight. But some of you, I don't know, you don't like to go in the sun, you don't get dark. Then you have to buy some vitamin D tablets. Vitamin C, there's a lot. There's no specific brand. I don't take it much, except when I travel to Germany. I find it so hard to get fruits, then I have to carry with me. Zinc, we get a lot from seafood, and I ate seafood. Yesterday only I ate stingray fish. The day before I ate a crab. So anyway, I get a lot of zinc, but there are, you know, there are different quality of zinc. If you come to, say, my clinic, what we give you is customized. That means we make sure that it's correct for your situation, not just standard off the shelf. You know, in the pharmacy, it can be quite dangerous, things like that. And magnesium, there's a lot from different kind of seeds that you eat, almond seeds, dark green vegetable like kailan, you know, that kind of thing has a lot of magnesium. Now, in terms of multivite and things like that, of course, there are plenty of brand. But like I said, I prefer personalized, because if you are generally healthy, the food that you eat is okay. You just take something good like AXXA SO Plus, drink good water, you should be generally fine. But try to get it from nature. Nature already give it to you. So vitamin D from sunlight is very good. You don't have to be very dark. Just expose yourself, you know, for a short time. More important, you do it daily, especially now, MCO, you have a chance. Okay. Now, in terms of selenium, you just need small amount, very little, and you can find that in the black cumin seed, of course. But it also, by the way, black cumin seed has zinc, has selenium, has a lot of those micro nutrients that you need. But it's also found in other seeds. So that's why seeds are very potent, not just black cumin seed, but most seeds, you know, are quite good for you. So I cannot promote what brand is out there in the pharmacy. Usually 99% is rubbish and too expensive. If someone is sick, cancer, for example, autoimmune, lupus, things like that, you need to be tested. You can test for vitamin D shortage, you can test for magnesium, you can do all the tests, and then you know precisely, targeted what you need, rather than just buying everything and take. If you are ill and you have some health issues, I would suggest that you get tested for minerals, vitamins, and all the other nutrients. All right.